Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss and Kristen West, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to What Women Want Talk Radio. Thank you for joining us for our show tonight, Looking Back to Give Back. Kristen and I co-host this amazing show, which just got onto iHeartRadio. So we're excited to have yet another platform to offer you shows on demand continually. We want to thank you for listening out there. What Women Want Talk Radio has reached almost 1.5 million downloads. Wow. Since we first did the airwaves, and between latalkradio.com's archives, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and now, of course, iHeartRadio. You can find us everywhere. So listen to those replays and like, share, and follow when you do. I'm broadcasting from New York, and Kristen is out in our studio in LA, so we're covering the entire country from coast to coast. And tonight we're talking to two very special women who are looking back on their lives with the purpose of giving back for the future. Kristen, a lot of times when we want to give back or do something philanthropic, we always look back, or not always, but often we look back and think, gosh, you know, I experienced such and such, and I really want to help that type of experience and really, you know, give back to what I learned and what I was missing or what I didn't have, right?
Yes, I think we're very motivated to give based on our personal stories, based on what we've experienced, what's caused us pain, or a need we have that maybe didn't get met. So it's very interesting because so much of charitable giving is and charitable action is based on people's personal stories, and I find that to be true as well.
Well, our guests Alzarina Gomes and Sue Matthews, I think what impresses me most is that they could very well look back and regret things that they've done in their life or experiences that they've been through, or just be depressed about it and have it stagnant and holding there and let it control them. And a lot of people could go through that, but these ladies went the other way, and they actually, you know, took what they experienced and really came through and are, you know, changing lives with the way that they're starting their foundations and helping children and women and, you know, really everyone around the world. It's really impressive, and I'm so excited to hear their stories.
Yes, it's true. And I think a lot of what we talk about with our guests, especially our guests who've had severely traumatic incidents or severe hardship, is taking that pain and what do you do with that pain? And the time after time, week after week, when we've had conversations with people, it's always been what action did they take after their pain? How did they take their pain and make that something actionable, and how did they give back from their pain? And I'm glad that we're talking to them both too. And you know, and you're a testament to that, Judy, because you have a compelling story and you inspire women each and every day.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say, Kristen. Thank you. I don't feel like I do enough giving back. My passion is helping children, like actually both Sue and Alzarina's passion is too. I volunteer for Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I've spoken a lot for Girls Inc. and, you know, really supported them as well. But I feel like it's never enough. But these women are really inspiring, and by the end of the show, I know everyone listening out there is going to want to do more also. I want to thank our sponsor, Dune Jewelry, the original beach sand jewelry company. They created experiential jewelry by capturing your most cherished memories with sand and natural elements from around the world. Handmade with love and sandy hands in the USA, Dune Jewelry is a perfect time capsule for all of your travel adventures. Dune Sandbank offers sand and natural elements from over 3,500 locations around the world, from your favorite beach, ballpark, golf course, mountaintop, hiking trail, and more. You also have the option to send your own memory. Dune Jewelry's unique, custom, and personalized collection is the perfect way to hold on to those special moments forever, allowing you to live for the moment, then take it with you. Visit DuneJewelry.com for more. I have a few pieces, and they are memorable and awesome. My background originally comes from high fashion modeling with Ford New York. And after that, I went to the other side of the camera and became a magazine editor, then an author with St. Martin's Press. And now I'm back in front of the camera, currently hosting my second season of AWE's luxury real estate TV show, Behind the Gates. I'm also a regular contributor on NBC and Fox, and a mom, too, of twin teenage girls. I'm also an entrepreneur. If that's not enough, I founded the company What Women Want Networking and What Women Want National Conference almost 8 years ago now. Kristen, you're not just an award-winning actress, producer, screenwriter, the host of your own show, Horror Talk with Kristen West, and the list goes on and on.
It was a fun week this week.
Tell me.
We're syndicating Horror Talk with Kristen West, so we're now proud to be part of Antflix and Breaking Fate TV, both available on Pivot Share, which is really...
That is exciting.
It is exciting. So there's a lot of growth in that particular show, which is exciting to me. And of course, being here week after week with you is also exciting and wonderful as well.
And I think soon you're going to see our faces every week too, so that's exciting too.
Yeah, we're working on that. And
I'm going to have to wear makeup.
I know, right? I thought about that the other day. I was like,
Yeah, I know. I'm like, geez, we're going to have to change the time maybe.
Yeah.
It's a little late out here in New York.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one of the things. I was like, and I'm sitting here in the studio. It's a beautiful office here. I have a great view of the city. But, honestly, I'm not wearing any makeup right now, and I have my hair in what I call a house bun. I mean, it's just up.
Is that why I don't see any Facebook Lives from you from What Women Want Talk Radio anymore?
Not as many. Most of the time it's because my battery is just failing by the time I get here at my part of the day, so I haven't had a chance to recharge my phone's battery. But yeah, no, it's very cool. We're working on a lot of new stuff. I'm so excited to be on iHeartRadio now too. And yeah. And of course...
Well, let me recharge your other batteries by bringing on Alzarina, because these stories, let me tell you something. After you hear them, you will want to go out and conquer the world. Alzarina Gomes, she owns and created Alzarina Jewelry. It's a high-end jewelry company specializing in elegant, handcrafted jewelry. From the start of her company, Alzarina held a great devotion to giving back to her community. Being born on the very tiny island of, I hope I say this right, San Antão, Cape Verde, Alzarina has been able to create a successful life and business for herself, but she's forever grateful to all those that helped and believed in her along the way. And recently she went back to Cape Verde to receive an award honoring her work. Welcome to the show, Alzarina.
Thank you, Judy. Hello, everyone.
Hello there. And I love your...
I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Yes, we absolutely did. And we're taking the giving out of the Thanksgiving, this show. And we're talking about giving back. And you've certainly done an incredible amount of that, humanitarian work, philanthropy. It's just unbelievable what you do. Alzarina, your story is so interesting to me. I think I've heard it 2 or 3 times in person and on air, and I just can't get enough of it. The one of the interesting highlights, I guess, of the story is that, you were from this place called Cabo Verde, which I never heard of before you came around, which I understand is becoming a very hot touristy spot. But, you didn't have a pair of shoes until you were the age of 14. And I'm not going to say from there, but in the next several years, you became a high fashion model traveling all over the world. And then this world-renowned entrepreneur, jewelry designer. It's a really incredible story. I'm not sure where to start, but why don't you help me out a little bit?
Well, that's true, Judy. My first pair of shoes, I got it actually from my sister boyfriend at the time. I was 14. But growing back, Cape Verde, it's the country, but, like the island where I was born, it's so, actually the little town, it's very tiny compared to the island itself, San Antonio. But, growing up the way I did, for me, giving, I can never give enough. And when I said giving, it's not just about giving back a pair of shoes as well to the other kids. I have given a lot of that. But sometimes it's just about as well giving a hand or talk to someone when someone is down. Because share your experience, help someone else find their way to bring their dream to life. So me living Cape Verde, I got lucky enough to get a lot of people giving me ways to, how can I say it, to help me and to where I am today. And I want to contribute to give back to other people who needs my help as well.
Well, I don't think you just got lucky, though. I mean, you had some situations where you definitely made the most of, the place you were in at that moment. So there was, when you were a little girl, you said that you always dreamed of, being out of Cape Verde, and yep. Traveling the world and making something of yourself, to, when you were a housekeeper and you had the opportunity to try on clothes for someone who worked high up in Swarovski. So that led to modeling. You could have very well been content and stayed in Cape Verde, and you could have very well said no to trying on that dress that led to the Cinderella story of you modeling. And then, you could have not pursued your brother, I think, that lived in Paris or something like that. I mean, you had a lot of, it wasn't just you got lucky. All right, so tell us about it.
Well, you're correct, because I guess since I'm a kid, I'm very ambitious. I'm an ambitious woman who definitely I want to discover, and I want to create, I want to learn. So I forced myself. When I got to Paris, when I lived Cape Verde, like most of Cape Verdean or African people, we leave our country to look for a better life. And when I went to France, it was to be a maid, to work as a housekeeper, which that was my first job. And from there, it's when my own boss knew I couldn't clean a house. I didn't know how to do so. So she introduced me to her work, which was Danielle Swarovski, and asked me to come and meet, bring her dog to her office. And then, when I see all the crystals, all the jewelry and the handbags, and, my dream as a kid when I was 4 years old start coming, and, I started seeing my vision and knowing that those are things that I had already seen without knowing what I was seeing. Mm-hmm. And working for Danielle Swarovski at the time, I didn't have papers. I was illegal, so I had to lie to all my family that I was working as a maid, because, I was afraid they would tell anyone, and I would be either returned back to Cape Verde or something like that. It wasn't easy, that's for sure.
I imagine that must have been a huge amount of pressure that you couldn't quite reveal to your family the life that you had found yourself in and had stepped into. And I have to tell you, I can understand that pressure to a point. Now, I have to ask you, you decided of all the things that you wanted to give back to your community. You could have taken your charity in any number of directions. Why did you choose to focus on education? Why was that so important to you? to give back to students?
Thank you for asking this question. Growing up, my high level of school was for grade in Cape Verde. I'm a daughter of a single mother of 5, and we didn't have money for me to go to school. And for me to go to school, to even go to 8th grade, she had to send me to a different island where she didn't have money to.
Wow.
So that is something that always I had in my mind, because I really loved school, but I couldn't go to school. So when I went to France, that's something else, as well as I was working for Daniel Swarovski as a model, then I study at night in France. That's another thing. I didn't tell anyone that I was studying, because first I told my family I want to go back to school. And their answer to me back then, oh, you don't come from Cape Verde to come here to go to school. You have to work to help your family in Cape Verde. So that's another something that I had to do behind everybody's back just for me, because I wanted to learn. I wanted to educate myself. I didn't want to be with Cape Verdean at the time, because I wanted to learn French. And my family, even though they were in France for so many years, they always speak Creole, which is the language we speak, and Portuguese. So I started going to the club by myself, try to find a group of people where they only speak French, pretend I was their friend. I mean, I thought it all too. And
that's amazing. Alzarina, I can't even wrap my mind around this. It's like you had a double life.
I had a double life, yes.
But you know what? Look what you did with it. I mean, I have to ask you, how far, just so I understand, and like Judy said, and I will admit my ignorance as well, is before we talked to you a few months ago, when I first got introduced to you, I had no idea about Cape Verde. I looked it up. I got acquainted. But how far are these islands between each other that children have to go from one island to the next to go to school? How far? I mean, is that like a ferry ride? Is it like a 30-minute ferry? Is it an hour ferry?
No. At the time that I was in Cape Verde, I had to leave directly in a different island, because from my town to where we picked the ferry, it was 2.5 hours.
Whoa.
And then the ferry is 45 minutes. So I had to live directly in another island if I wanted to go to school. But that was out of the question, because my mom did not have the money to send me to school.
So I have to ask you, taking this into today, and I read a little bit about the educational system of Cape Verde. What happens to the kids who don't go to college? What kind of jobs are they able to get on the island? Judy talked a little bit about the hospitality industry and tourism, but if kids on this island don't get any kind of higher level education, what kind of jobs are available to them?
Well, back then they had to do agriculture, fishing, those kind of work. Today, I'm so thankful for the progress of Cape Verde. Every kid today have a chance to go to school. Why? Because there is university now in almost every island. So that is something that has progressed in the last 28, 30 years since I left Cape Verde.
Wow.
So that's huge for me.
That is.
And
how many students have you helped through your charity?
Well, right now I have 5 kids going to school, and I have other organization that we help each other place kids in school. But me, myself, at this moment, starting in September, I have 5 kids. But I do that. They don't know if I'm the one who paying the school. I don't want them to know. I don't want the family, my family to know that is something I do between the school. So they don't know who really is paying for their college.
What? Wait a minute, Alzarina. Whoa. That is amazing. So basically you make an arrangement with the school to help these kids out. And these kids have no idea who you are, no idea what you do. Why did you choose to do it that way? There are a lot of educational charities. There's a lot of people, at least here in the U.S., doing scholarships, big foundations. Why did you choose that level of anonymity for yourself?
Well, for me, it's because, one, I have a big family, which is a poor family. I don't want them to think, a lot of them, they have kids that don't want to go to school.
Oh, I see.
If they go to school, they don't do a good, they are not forcing themselves or they quit.
They're not applying themselves.
Yes. My goal is to give kids where their parents make at least less than $150 a month, and they are straight A students. So those kids, they know if they don't work, if they don't have a good grade, they are out. So those kids are really challenged to work. So they really want to succeed. They want to help their parents the way I wanted to help my mom have a meal on 3 days, or 3 times a day.
Right.
So those are the kids that I want to help.
Now,
and right now I'm working to get a better system where I can sponsor more kids, and it would be the Alzarina Foundation, and that is going to be a different thing. But right now, for the kids that I am paying for theirs to go to school, they don't know who I am, where the money is coming from. They just know they have.
They got to get those A's.
They have to work to earn that scholarship.
Alzarina, there's so much here that my mind is just blown, in the best possible way. As someone who received an educational scholarship, so I know how impactful this and how game-changing this is in a life of a person. I understand that from a very personal point of view. One thing that just blew my mind... Yes, thank you, Alzarina. One detail that just blew my mind right now is that there are people that are not making more than $150 a month in your home country.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like that's an electric bill here in LA. I mean, I'm a little flabbergasted how that if these children don't get an education, that's kind of like a sentence to poverty for the rest of their abject poverty for the rest of their lives if they can't really,
unless they're Alzarina.
Unless they're Alzarina, right?
Well, there is people who makes a good living. Even maybe I would say for Cape Verde, there is people who make $3,000 a month. And there is the other people that make $150, which is the minimum wage, which is really nothing because, sometimes you have a family of 4 or even 6. It's really difficult. And for me, that's, like Judy last month gave me some dresses. I collect things to send to my country from everybody, anything, because I just want to help those family, when they go to work, they make this very little money, but at least they have a dress, or their kid have a dress. So we have this, me and another group of women, we have this organization called Dress a Girl around the world. So we're doing, last month we collected 700-something dresses to send to Cape Verde. And not just that, I have this group of, this orphanage of girls that has been sexually abused by their family. I send monthly supply that they need, pads and all kind of things.
They need the things girls need.
There is a lot of way that I can help, or anyone can help me help them. Right now, I'm very thankful for a shipping company who just agreed to help me ship everything for free as long as I have stuff.
Wow.
So that helps a lot. But, I'm constantly asking and see, how can I help someone? So
I love that, Alzarina. Alzarina, I want to know. You're welcome. No, thank you. This is just amazing. This is amazing. All of the reach you have and what you've been able to do and really pay it forward. So how do we help you? Tell me how we help you. Is there a website we go to? What can we do to help you in all of the efforts that you're making?
Well, anything, someone, if anyone have school supplies or any company who have anything that any girls or boys can use, or clothes or shoes. I'm going to do a shoe drive to get shoes for the kids who goes to school without shoes. Anything can help, and if anyone wants to help, they can contact me. They can, on my website, we have also T-shirts that we sell for $25. Those $25 go to sponsor a kid.
What's your website, Alzarina?
I'm sorry?
What's your website?
Alzarina.com.
Alzarina.com. Well, that gives me just the warm fuzzies. You can get a cool shirt. I've looked at those shirts. Have you looked at those shirts, Judy? They're very, very cool looking.
I'm always crawling all over her website.
I know, right?
Jewelry.
It's like your website, Alzarina, is like eye candy for women. It's just all glitter and jewelry, and I love it.
And she had a segment on Channel 9 where she said that one of her pieces she designed from her view of the window looking over New York City, and it was just the Swarovski crystals, and you could tell with the creativity that she put in it and the passion and just everything you do, Alzarina, is so impressive.
Thank you, Judy. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Alzarina, and we're going to make sure to let people know where to find your website and all that you're up to. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So much. And if that didn't, thank you. And if that did not warm your heart, it's my pleasure now to introduce to you Sue Matthews. She is the author of Paint Your Hair Blue, a celebration of life with hope for tomorrow in the face of pediatric cancer, which is a heartwarming story of heroic courage and unbridled love that will inspire and empower you, no matter what your circumstances are, to embrace and take control of your life. Paint Your Hair Blue chronicles the journey of Sue's daughter, Taylor, a courageous young woman who fought pediatric cancer, and shows readers the triumphs and heartaches of her journey. Sue is the president of the Taylor Matthews Foundation, founded by Taylor, who passed from pediatric cancer at age 16. The foundation has raised approximately $1.6 million for pediatric cancer research. Thank you and welcome to the show, Sue. How are you?
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm great.
Sue, it's that I was looking at the TV last night, and of course we just had Giving Tuesday. And one of the things that I found out when I was learning about you and the Taylor Matthews Foundation is that only 4% of the government's allocated funds for research go to pediatric cancer. I was shocked by that. Why is that?
It's totally shocking beyond belief, and it's been that way always. 4% of the National Cancer Institute's budget approximates less than $200 million. And that's for all types of pediatric cancer. And there's hundreds and hundreds of subtypes. I actively lobby on the Hill. I attend a lot of conferences to change the world of pediatric cancer. There are children, there are future. Certainly every cancer or any chronic, any illness deserves research dollars. But allocating so little to children is horrifying. That being said, in 2017 and 2018, we have made progress. 2 huge bills have passed Congress.
Wow.
That will ultimately change the network of pediatric cancer. But they've passed Congress. That doesn't mean they're funded.
Right. That means people have agreed temporarily that this is enough of a priority. I'm just astounded by that. And I have to ask you, obviously Taylor founded this foundation before she passed. What inspired her? Obviously she was going through some life or death circumstances. People handle illness in various ways. What drove her to do this before she passed away?
She was diagnosed at the end of May, and she came up with the idea July 1st. It was 3 or 4 weeks after she was diagnosed. We found out that her treatment protocol, which is her series of chemo, radiation, or what have you, biological agents, was 30 to 40 years old at the time and is now 50 years old. There have been no advances made in her type of cancer.
What?
Certainly there have been advances made in other types of cancer. But when she looked at us and said, we tried to make a joke out of it and say, well, it's as old as Mommy and Daddy. We're still around. It's okay. And she looked at us and said, Mommy, if I could just save the life of one child, and I want to raise $1 million, that's out of the mouth like an 11-year-old child, it would make all the difference. I don't understand, she would say, Mommy, why all these kids are suffering and no one's helping us.
I'm just floored. No progress in 50 years. Literally 50 years.
I'm floored that she was 11 and she realized that and could voice it.
Right. I mean, so...
Yeah, we had instilled philanthropy in our children very early on. Mm-hmm. In fact, I was running a marathon for my girlfriend who had cancer and had survived. And I brought my children to the pasta dinner the night before. It was on the island of Bermuda, just because I wanted it to be a small marathon where the kids could see me run. Mm-hmm. And I was criticized beyond belief. People actually came up to my table and said, how could you subject children to this?
Oh, my gosh.
My youngest was 6. My oldest was 11. God only knew at that point. We didn't know what we were going to come up against. But we had instilled philanthropy in the kids at a very young age. And one of my greatest joys in the work that I do is I teach mostly to 6th graders or middle school children what philanthropy is all about. And I always start my class by asking, why are you here? Why did you join this cancer club? And the kids come up with so many beautiful reasons, but the main reason is they say, we're healthy. We haven't seen the world. We don't know what the world is about. We're too young. And we don't want this to happen to any other child. And the kids raise a tremendous amount of money.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, obviously, when you got started in this, you know, there are sites online. There's Charity Navigator. There are rating sites about charity accountability. There's many cancer charities, and they're all and they're doing good work. Why did you feel like you had to have your own charity? It was because Taylor wanted that. What did you decide to make different about the Taylor's Foundation?
Yeah, Taylor decided to have her own foundation. Actually, the original name is K-Bands, K for Taylor, and Bands, because she designed headbands, which we had professionally manufactured. Why she wanted headbands when she was bald, we have no idea. We just laughed about it. But she thought it was going to be a $5,000 bake sale at school, and then it imploded.
Wow.
to, schools all over Westchester County, to different states, different countries. So it originally started as selling hair accessories, and the difference in the profit between manufacturing and what we sold them for was what was donated to the foundation. But she wanted to have control over it. She personally wanted to help people. I really think, although she passed, it helped her survive dramatically, knowing she was helping people. And we wanted to control the funds because a lot of foundations allocate a lot of funds to administrative costs.
Right.
We have no paid employees. We have virtually no expenses.
That's amazing. And you bring up a valid point, is when you're kind of diving into the world of philanthropy and who you give your dollars to and who you don't, one of the key indicators that you look at is how much administrative fees do they pay? What do they pay in advertising? I wanted to ask you, obviously this was very personal. It was a disruptive event in your family. You have other children. You wrote a book about your experience. Can you give us any tips about dealing with family trauma in such a personal way?
I want to know why she called it Paint Your Hair Blue.
Right. Yeah, that too.
That's Taylor's spirit coming right through. Personal trauma, when a child gets sick, especially when a child has cancer, the whole family gets cancer. My other daughters, their world was turned upside down in a minute. By morning, I was a stay-at-home mom, dropping my 3 daughters off at school. By afternoon, I was fighting for my daughter's life. It was sudden. It was traumatic beyond belief. No parent should ever hear the words, your child has cancer. And we had no idea what to do. We had no medical background. We had no medical family members or friends. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote Paint Your Hair Blue, because it serves as a resource for parents or anyone with cancer or a caregiver for someone with cancer or any chronic illness, a place to go where they could find out in layman's terms about things that would help them. But the book also continues Taylor's legacy as the proceeds go to the foundation. But many people that know us find the book very sad. People that don't know us personally find the book incredibly inspiring, because I say the first sentence in the book says, do I dare say my daughter's cancer journey was successful? My answer is yes. How could a mother say that when she ultimately lost her child? And that's because Taylor made every minute count. We did crazy, insane things. Cancer was a sideline in her life. She lived from 11 to 16 with the disease, had a boyfriend, took the SATs. She had no immune system at 12 years old. When she had nothing to do, she would get very cranky, but this was her personality from the day she was born. So I kind of was the kindergarten teacher, every day having a plan of something fun to do. And one day, she was 12 years old at this point. She was stuck in the house for 2 weeks with no immune system because of the chemotherapy. And I got her school books out of the car, and she looked at me. I mean, I could laugh hysterically right now, remembering that look. Like, really? With this evil eye, are you kidding me? You think I'm going to study? So I threw the books back in the car. And that was her personality. I threw the books back in the car, but going back to the car, I thought, oh, my God, I have the greatest idea. I ran in, I'm like, T, we used to call her T, do you want to learn how to drive?
Do you want to what? What did you say?
Learn how to drive.
At 12?
She ran the car at 12.
Oh, my gosh.
She ran the car so fast, insisted on pulling it out of the garage, telling me she'd be a better driver than I was. And I didn't realize until I wrote the book that she drove from 12 to 16 without insurance.
Well, we won't tell anybody.
I feel like a running theme through this, Sue, has been people that have looked at you and judged you in some way, even before Taylor got sick to, sometime after when you wrote the book. It seems to be, you've mentioned that a few times. What is it that made you keep going and shrug off those judgments and, really stand strong for what you believed in? Because obviously you did. And that's how you raised Taylor and your other kids. And it's admirable, but it's not easy. What can you say to someone who really would like to stand strong in their beliefs?
Well, for me to stand strong in my beliefs and also to speak very frankly, one of the biggest comments we've gotten from the book is it's raw honesty. And I say to that sounds odd to me a little bit because I do speak my mind and I am honest all the time. So the way I wrote it was just the way I speak. So for me, I guess it was a little bit easier because that's just the type of person I am. I always tell everyone, be strong in your beliefs. If you hurt someone unintentionally, never go to bed that night without saying you're sorry. Don't go to bed thinking that I did something wrong, I didn't do something wrong. And certainly with a child with cancer, the whole world was looking at us. And after Taylor passed away, I'm much better now, but I stayed in bed for 2 years after we lost her. And after that 2 years, when I got up and I would go to a food store, I'd see people, just people in town, not my good friends, run around the other aisle of the food store. I wanted to literally make T-shirts that said, grief is not contagious. I was so upset by it. But what I realized in the long run was their intentions, everyone's intentions are good. They just didn't, people don't know how to approach me or what to talk to me about. I was just at an event tonight where my daughter came up and somebody said to me, I truly don't know what to say to you. And then my answer to that was, saying nothing is better. It's totally fine. But in a certain way, Taylor's fun, feistiness, bright personality, do anything you want, in some ways she taught me. I think some days that she was my mother and I was her daughter.
There's so many layers here and I think you point out something very deeply personal about grief, is that sometimes immediately we don't know what to do when we're grieving. We don't know what to say to someone who's had something horrible happen in their life. And sometimes the best thing is to say nothing. I have to wonder, when you were in your process of grieving, what you said was 2 years of being in bed. What was going through your mind about keeping Taylor's vision of this charity alive and going? What helped and what didn't help?
Well, certainly the charity and giving, and my other daughters and my husband are what got me out of bed. During those 2 years, we had friends and family that ran the foundation, and we had tremendous donations come in after her passing. But I realized after 2 years, my husband had quit work for 2 years to stay at home to take care of my other daughters and myself. Mm-hmm. And I realized there's two paths you can go. You can become a victim, and Taylor strongly was never a victim. She was completely against that. She didn't want any pity. Or you can go out and you can engage in life. And I live my life the way Taylor would want me to live my life. I run the foundation because that's her wishes, hopes, and dreams. And it's so rewarding to give back. It's so rewarding to hear from a doctor, you've actually saved a child's life. We have evidence that our dollars have saved children's lives. What better could I do after losing a child than to spare another family that loss? And I realized, it came a while to realize this, but the biggest realization I've had is that joy and grief do go together.
Mm. With all the aggression and, everything that's going on in the world today, you just tend to hear about mostly negative, socio-political events and comments and everything that's going on. It's just so refreshing to hear someone like you, really just take the life by the horns and walk forward and show people what true gratitude is. and what true giving back is. I'm just so proud of you. I don't really know you that well, but I just, it really, I mean, raising almost $2 million by yourself, not with corporations behind you and superstars in your fold and everything else. And it's just so admirable. I would love for you to let people know that are listening out there that would like to start a foundation or even just, take another step in the way they contribute to society. What would be the thing you would tell them to do first, besides, the obvious volunteering and figure out where your passion lies?
Well, certainly to start a foundation, you have to be completely passionate and dedicated to it. So when you mention passion, that is the biggest thing that you need to do. The logistics of setting up a non-for-profit are very easy and very clear. But dedicating yourself day in and day out and not taking things personally. Say you don't get a donation from a particular friend that you thought you would get a donation from. Certainly our donors are not only family and friends. Our reach is much wider than that. But, with my passion and my dedication, and then possibly someone not thinking of that, you just can't take things personally. Everybody has something in life.
And I imagine you've become, someone that people go to for advice and comfort, and it's a huge responsibility. You know what? People do come to me for advice and comfort, and I help other children with cancer. I just lost a dear girl, but her family was completely uneducated and didn't know how to speak to the doctors, so I would go to all the doctors' meetings and then spend time with her. They were an underprivileged family, whereas the family could not be with her in the hospital all the time. But that's a slippery road for me, because when she passed, it brought everything back for me. But I'm thrilled to help people. And I wish it's not that someone didn't help me. I didn't find that person that knew how to help me. Well, you're certainly a beacon of light for people looking for it now. So it's, kudos to you. I hope they find me, because I want to help you. I want to paint your hair blue. And maybe, Kristen, if she talks a little louder, she can reach a few more people out there. I just adore your passion and your dedication and your willingness to want to reach out and spread the word. And my gosh, raising all that money and changing lives, not just of the children that are going through pediatric cancer, but it, expands out to their families and friends and neighbors and people who are learning from what you all are going through. So it's just amazing. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, you're amazing, Sue. So where can we buy the book? Really, I mean, it's just, I can't even describe how, grateful I am that there are people like you out there. Oh, thank you. Well, you're pretty amazing too. I have to tell you that. Not like that. I need to be a little more like you. And if anything, this show has inspired me to do that, and I hope other people listening out there are inspired as well. So, Paint Your Hair Blue, a celebration of life with hope for tomorrow in the face of pediatric cancer. Where can we find this book, and where can we donate? The most important part. You can find the book in almost any Barnes and Noble, certainly online in Barnes and Noble and Amazon. It's on every book outlet online. Indie, Books A Million. People buy books primarily from Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So, and you can also get it directly from us on our website, which is paintyourhairblue.com. Which paintyourhairblue.com gives a lot of information about the book, why the book was written, gives information about Taylor. And to donate to the foundation, it's TaylorMatthewsFoundation.org. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And for everyone else listening, go to paintyourhairblue.com. And next week we have another philanthropic lady. She's one of my favorite actresses, actually. and she was my favorite actress before she said she'd do the show. But her name is Elizabeth Brahm, and she's with us next week. She's the former Assistant District Attorney of Law and Order for 5 years, and she's done a whole other plethora of acting and producing and all kinds of projects. But most importantly, she is involved in several philanthropic organizations, and we're going to hear all about her story next week. Join us. Don't miss even one show. Go to whatwomenwantradio.com, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss and Kristen West, only on LA Talk Radio.